Fetch forth the coffin. Come along, don't make a meal of it. You, sir, are going to die. And you, madam, will die. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a sad fact of life, is it not, that sooner or later we will all be somewhere else. Dead. Quite still. Gone forever. But if I were to tell you, sir, that you would meet your maker whilst being ravished by a rabid anteater, or that you, madam, possibly would be demolished under the weight of a ton of rotting butter beans, you would probably laugh in my face. But beware. Stranger things have happened. There have been some deaths that have been so extraordinary that you would scarce believe them to be true, but that they were. Tonight, we will share with you some of the most bizarre deaths ever recorded. But be warned, if you are squeamish or of a strange disposition, I urge you to turn away now and save yourselves. For what these unruly bunch of people out here are about to perform will chill you to your very marrow and give you nightmares for a very long time. Welcome to the horror! Please. Our tales begin in 1857 at the Kensal Green Cemetery, London, where a pallbearer by the name of Henry Taylor was carrying out his solemn duty, helping to carry a coffin to its last resting place when tragedy struck. Now, it turns out that our Henry was a bit of a clumsy bugger, and he tripped over a tree root and fell to the ground, whereupon the other pallbearers lost their grip upon the coffin, which crashed upon his head, killing him stone dead. 2 for the price of 1. What a way to go. We give you Henry Taylor.
1, 2, 3, 4.
for Henry Taylor. And now we transport you back to the mid-1800s, to a town called Flatbush in New York. And it was the home of a lamplighter by the name of Sam Wardell. Now, Sam had one job: to light the street lamps in the evening and to extinguish them at dawn. Now, paranoid about oversleeping, Sam rigged up a simple contraption to make sure he would not oversleep. The contraption consisted of an alarm clock, a length of steel wire which was attached to a clasp attached to a shelf, upon which sat a 10-pound rock. The idea being, of course, when the alarm went off, the wire would be taut, the latch would ping, the shelf would fall, and the rock would fall with a loud crash. With a loud crash. All right, next time. Yeah. Now, the idea was thus. Now, surprisingly, this bizarre system worked extremely well until one Christmas Eve. Poor Sam, he invited some friends around to his house for a bit of a Christmas knees-up, and as you can imagine, the wine flowed, and some bright spark decided upon the idea of, let's have a dance. So what did they do? They pushed the furniture away from the wall, into the wall, around the room, to create a space for the dancing. However, what they did not notice was that Sam's bed had been pushed up against the wall where the shelf was. Now, it doesn't take a genius to work out what happens next. In the early hours, a drunken Sam fell into bed and went to sleep, as it turned out, for a very long time. The lamplighter!
Sitting in the When he gave his ear up, the consequently hit his head from higher life. With suicide and the appetizer, who slowed down. 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 Simple that one of his life,
There we are. Christmas coming, be warned. Now, for our next tale. It's a truly, truly bizarre death that occurred in a small Lincolnshire village. A 30-year-old woman became seriously ill. It baffled the doctors. They could find nothing wrong with her, but she became iller and iller and iller. Perhaps if the doctors had known about her shocking habit, they could have saved the poor wretch, but it wasn't to be. She died. At her post-mortem, the surgeons were sickened to discover a black, solid mass in her ulcerated guts. It weighed 2 pounds and resembled a duck with a long neck. What was this unholy abomination? It was human hair. Yes. The poor woman had killed herself by eating her own hair. Now, without further ado, let's hear all about it.
One,
the doctors were baffled. The patient was dead.
What a disgusting way to die. Now, for thousands of years, humans have sought the company of small furry creatures to keep as pets. Now, cats, of course, are wonderful companions and have brought pleasure to millions of people across the globe. However, for some people, one or even two moggies are simply not enough, and they insist on filling their houses with the meowing felines. In 1876, there lived a rich and eccentric Iranian woman who brought and bred so many cats that one can only imagine the dreadful pong that must have emanated from her house. Now, one day, tragedy struck, of course, when a fire broke out. And as the panic spread through the house, two maids were sent to open the door that led to the living quarters of the precious and much-loved cats. As they threw open the door, however, these two unsuspecting maids could never have imagined the horror that they were about to witness. Terrified by the oncoming fire and the smoke, the cats had become a hostile and frenzied pack of wild animals, and they launched themselves at the maids, scratching and tearing at their faces and bodies with such a violence and aggression that the victims were left covered in blood and with their faces hanging off of their skull. They died. So next time you hear yourself saying, "Here, kitty, kitty," or "Here, pishy, pishy," remember them. Pishy, pishy.
Blue
Next, we have a tale for you that is so sad and tragic, frankly, ladies and gentlemen, that by the end of its telling, I don't doubt that hot, salty tears will be flowing uncontrollably down your cheeks. Concerns the grief endured by one Rufus Griswold. On November the 6th, 1842, Rufus was in New York, celebrating the birth of his third child, a son, born into this world by his beloved wife. 3 days later, however, Rufus was traveling to Philadelphia when he received some news that broke his heart and spirit. Both his darling wife and his newborn son had contracted an illness and died. Rufus was naturally overcome with despair, and on his return he sat by his dead wife's side for 30 hours, and even then he had to be dragged away by a friend and rescued from his distraught behavior. His other 2 children, crying at the loss of their dear mother, must have made a pitiful sight. Rufus's wife was entombed, and after 40 days, the grief-stricken man entered the burial vault, cut off a lock of her hair, and... You're still here? Get off. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Where was I? Oh, yes. He crept into the vault, cut off a lock of her hair, and once again kissed her tenderly on her ice-cold lips. Oh. The torment of losing his darling wife was unbearable for Rufus, and rumour has it that he actually paid a sexton to dig her up out of the ground once more so he could embrace her rotting corpse one last time. Which is a bit stiff. We give you the sad tale of Rufus Griswold.
The wife is so dumb, we miss it every day.
dear, one last kiss. I've never done that before. Now, to our next horrific tale for you. There is nothing sweeter, I'm sure you'll agree, than the taste of clear, fresh water. And for the inhabitants of Aldgate back in 1860, the local water pump provided just that. What these thirsty Londoners did not realise, however, was that before the stream of life-giving water gushed forth from the ornate fountains on the streets above, it had flowed through ancient graveyards that lay deep and invisible underground, and that the agreeable taste of this water was due to the calcium from the bones of dead fellow Londoners seeping into the underground stream, and in doing so picked up the organic matter from corpses that leached into the water, up into the pump and into the bellies of the unsuspecting cockneys. It wasn't long, of course, until people started dying, hundreds in fact, in what became known as the Aldgate pump epidemic. Now, tests were carried out by two eminent scholars of the day, a Dr. Saunders, and I promise you, I'm not making this up, his name was Professor Wanklin. And they determined just how dangerous the water was, and they concluded that the water contained 5 times the usual quantity of unusual solids. I want you to think of that next time you run a bath. anyone? Now, there are many ways that an animal can kill you. But you could be eaten by a shark, trampled to death by an elephant, or bitten perhaps by a poisonous snake. But never in your wildest dreams could you imagine being killed by a mouse. Well, this is what happened in 1857, where to an unfortunate fellow when he met his maker while working in a dark and gloomy factory. You see, the ladies of that day were working, and suddenly a mouse popped out of the skirting boards, running around the workshop, and they made them scream and shriek. But our young hero stepped forward and caught the mouse by his tail. He held the mouse aloft with a triumphant cry, "Hurrah!" But, unfortunately for him, he let go of the mouse's tail, which ran up his sleeve, out of his shirt, and he was so amazed his mouth was wide open. Well, it must have seemed like a lucky escape route for the poor mouse. He dived straight into the man's gullet, past his esophagus, clawing and scratching and biting as he went. The poor fellow, of course, was in absolute agony, clawing at his chest and screaming, but it was no use. He fell to the floor, blood issuing forth from its orifice in his face. Now, before we go on, I must tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is our last tale. Have you enjoyed this wonderful music, I wonder? Yes. Indeed. Yes, let's have a round of applause for Love Letters Ensemble! Perchance, when the show is finished, we will not have time to speak to you here, but we are repairing to the Sun Public House across the way. Oh, yes. If you care to join us, we would love to talk to you and answer any questions that you may have. However, now is the time to leave you with the mouse.
Join in. One word, mouse. Can you say the word? Mouse. That's all you need to know. Join in. Thanks, everybody. very much. Thank you very much.